everybody. How is everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of Keeping Up the Windsors. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Michelle.
That sounded very much like an old podcast episode, Shell, didn't it?
It did. Absolutely. We are a bit rusty with that now, aren't we?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Today, Royal Community, we're going to be talking about Prince Harry's 40th birthday and that social media post from the Royals, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it was really surprising, wasn't it?
It was so surprising. So let us know in the comments your thoughts about the photo. Shell, we do have an image, don't we, of the photo, which you're going to pop up now for us?
Yeah, bear with me. I'm going to pop it up now. And also, I couldn't resize it. So, Royal Community, you're just going to have to go with it. Here it is. I'll get out of the way. There we are.
Yeah.
Oh, other way. So, this is the image. And I'll take it off the screen now. There we go, Rach. So what did you think when you saw this image?
Well, first of all, I had a lot of people messaging me saying, oh my gosh, did you see the image? And I was like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't surprised that because that was posted on the royal family socials. Because it was Harry's 40th, I wasn't surprised that there was something. But I think obviously they've had to have gone with an older photo because they've not really got any new photos with Harry. I was surprised in the sense that it was reposted by the Kensington Palace socials. But then I also thought it's his 40th, so why wouldn't they? So what was your initial thought, Shell?
I thought the same. Firstly, I felt shocked. Hang on a minute. There's something on the royal socials about Prince Harry. And then I was like, of course, it's his 40th birthday. Of course, there's got to be something on the socials. And then I saw the picture and I really liked the picture of Harry. I thought it was so like vibrant. He looks happy in it, you know. Looking more into it, the picture is by Jimmy Rainford and it was taken at a what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is just literally falling out of my head.
A charity gala.
No, it was a place called Dog Patch Labs Startup Hub in Dublin. And it was a picture of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex meeting people there. And they were sat at a table with other people around. And apparently there was two pictures taken. So one of this more wider shot and then this cropped shot. And we'll get on to that in a little bit about why they chose that crop shot over the bigger one. But I would say that it did surprise me. But then when I sat down and put my royal fan hat on, I thought actually this this social media post is it wasn't a surprise. I don't know why I felt surprised. Maybe it's just because it's Prince Harry and they feel so estranged now, don't they? The royal family and members of the royal family and Prince Harry. And obviously as well, the Duchess of Sussex and the extended family. So yeah, I felt surprised. But then as I sat down, I thought, no, this kind of makes sense for the royal family, you know?
I did also think as well that it would have come across as quite petty if nothing was posted, especially because it was his 40th. Maybe to make it more personal, I would have thought when thinking about it later that there maybe would have been a picture of Harry with the king when Harry was younger, just to make it a bit more personal. But maybe they didn't go down that route because then, you know, there's been so much speculation anyway about, is this an olive branch or was this an obligatory post? So I think...
Hang on, Rach, I think I've got a banner for that. 1 second. Yay! I mean, was it an olive branch or was it an obligation? I think that's our next thing to kind of go into, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because, you know, I think we have to look at it at both sides. We need to look at it as it's a father and a son relationship first. And we've said it time and time again. We don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors. We don't know if Harry and the King have been in touch. I would like to think that there was at least a phone call or a video call on his birthday. We did see the King and Queen Camilla going to church on Sunday when Harry's birthday was Sunday the 15th of September. So I personally, because this is the first birthday post we've had since Harry and Meghan left the royal family, being working royals, I don't think we'll see one next year. I think it was because it was a milestone. And if you remember, they actually did post for Meghan's 40th as well, didn't they, on the royal socials?
Yeah, and before we started the live today, that was a question in my mind. I couldn't remember, and I did a quick search, but nothing was really coming up. So I thought, oh, was I imagining that they did? But I thought, no, the 40th birthday of anybody is significant, isn't it? So it makes sense. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because I didn't have the correct fact for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, as I said, looking as a family, I think it makes sense that this was a post, but they know that anything to do with Harry is going to get worldwide press and attention. And I think a lot of people were saying, not really shocked that the royal family socials posted, but more shocked that the Kensington Palace socials reposted. And I think that was the obligatory part. I don't think, because again, if they didn't post anything, it would have been seen as quite petty. But the fact that it wasn't signed WC, William and Catherine, we know when that is written, that comes from William and Catherine themselves. So if you believe what you read in the press, I mean, we've spoken about the press so many times, we don't believe everything we read. But Harry and William's relationship is basically at this point very non-existent. So I think that part was obligatory.
The caption from the Prince and Princess of Wales read, "Wishing a happy 40th birthday to the Duke of Sussex." The royal family caption wrote, "Wishing the Duke of Sussex a very happy 40th birthday today." So not very personal, not heartfelt in any way. It was very much to the point. It's his birthday. We're putting out this post. And it also makes me think as well, like you said, Rach, about it being W and C at the end, because we know that's directly from William and Catherine. These are people behind the scenes doing the social medias for the royal family, for Kensington Palace, and they would have had to have got that signed off in some way. So yeah, this is kind of where it leads me into thinking a lot of people said, why did they crop that picture when Meghan was in it? And was there like an ulterior motive? Are they just snubbing Meghan? I actually think it was probably because, in my personal opinion, it's just because it was Harry's birthday and they saw this picture and liked it and thought, I'll put this one up. That's just me with my social media head on, rather than anything else underneath it. But who knows? We don't really know, do we?
No, and I think we never will know. And it's interesting because we know that Harry and Meghan sometimes post personal images on their website, Archwell. And they didn't have anything for Harry's birthday. You could say, if we're looking at it from the other side, why, if that's the case, why was nothing posted on William's 40th birthday from the Sussexes? Why was nothing posted for the King's 70th? So if you look at it both sides, I can see both sides of that. Was it an olive branch? I don't think it was. I personally don't think it was. It'll be interesting because Harry is actually coming to the UK in a few weeks' time for an engagement. So again, if you read into what we're going to be hearing through the press, it'll be interesting to know if Harry visits his father, if the King will have time, because that was one of the things that was said last time, is the King didn't have time to see Harry when he was in the UK. So I think that's going to be interesting when he comes over in the next few weeks.
Yeah, 100%. Something you said then actually just jogs a little thing I wanted to say, but I'll come back to it. What is very interesting is exactly what you said, Rach. It actually brought Prince Harry's birthday more to a wider appeal just because of the royal rota and them covering it. But also it was shown as well in the what was Harry doing for his 40th. Apparently he had a private celebration at his home with his family and his friends, and they also attended I'm gonna my apologies if I butchered this name, I'm so sorry, George Safin Sajfen tennis tournament in Los Angeles. That was on the Saturday, and it's a charity event that's raising money for the Alliance for Children's Rights. And one of the organizers, Kelly McKean, who's also her husband Julian Jaffin, their son died, so they've created this tournament to raise money for the charity. And Kelly is a very good friend of Meghan's, so it's reported. So she wrote on her socials, and I thought I'd bring this up because the parallel between the two is very it's quite large. She wrote, Harry and Meghan, you have been such a guiding light for our family, not just in the way you've shown up in our friendship, not have shown up in friendship, but how you have shown up through the incredible work the Archewell Foundation does every day. I mean, all of your commitment to community and to friendship. On behalf of the Alliance for Children's Rights, we thank you. On behalf of my family, we love you. Extra special day too. Happy 40th H. May this trip around the sun be the best yet. So that is personal, right? That is an authentic, heartfelt, happy birthday. When you put that in parallel to the royal family, to William and Catherine's, that is very formal. And I agree. I think it was an obligation. I don't think it was an olive branch. Who knows? An olive branch behind the scenes would be someone picking the phone up and making that call and having that conversation. Whether that happened or not is, who knows? That's for them to have that conversation. But as it stands, the way that it was a very dutiful 40th birthday wish, in the way that I think they would do that for any member of the family. They didn't, I think personally, they didn't like choose, okay, let's do this picture because it's Harry. They would have just chosen the nicest picture of a family member because it's their birthday. They've got to pop it up on the socials. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it, Rach. Have you kind of like, are you adding anything else to that?
No, I think I've said all that I can say, really, because it's hard because we haven't seen Harry or Meghan in an official capacity for a while. Obviously, we haven't seen William and Catherine or the King and Queen Camilla. You know, at this point, I would have thought that we would have seen more from royal engagements. But but when it comes to Harry, I think that's all that can be said, really. But on a lighter, positive note, it was reported yesterday that Catherine was back to work and she took her first engagement at Windsor Castle for her Early Years Foundation, the first since her cancer diagnosis. So that's excellent news, isn't it?
It is, and it's great to see something on the court circular that says the Princess of Wales, because we haven't seen that for such a long time. So who knows, this might be a step in the right direction. And also for her as well, you know, this is a big deal for her. She loves that foundation. It's something that she's been kind of harvesting and looking into the growth of every single year, and it's going from strength to strength. And hopefully soon we'll be getting some of those studies that they're doing at the moment. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction for sure, especially for us royal fans. It is one of those, it is in Windsor Castle. It's not like a public engagement as such, but take your time, one step at a time. It's all good.
Exactly. And you actually mentioned something to me the other day, Shell, that the Amazon Prime Prince Andrew TV show is going to be starting. And I said to you, I don't have Amazon Prime. But I remember talking about this on the podcast way back when it was first announced, because obviously we had the Netflix one and now we've got this. And I think that's coming out tomorrow. Is that correct?
It's coming out on actually, you're right, Rach. It's coming out the 19th. That's right. So the 19th of September, we're not affiliated with Amazon Prime. We're just letting you know, royal community, there's something's coming out that's royal. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching it. I think it's being produced by Emily Mateless. I always pronounce her surname incorrectly, but it's going to be quite interesting, I think, because she was there. She interviewed Prince Andrew, so she would have had the scoop. Am I saying the wrong one there? Yeah. That is the wrong one. But you know, she was there, so she would have understood every little nuance and what was going on behind the scenes. So it's going to be quite interesting and a good juxtaposition between the other one that came out, which was The Scoop, right?
Yeah, Scoops.
Yeah, Scoops. Yeah, I don't think I've
And
watched that. Rach, have you seen that?
no, I didn't watch that one. But what's interesting about this one that's coming out tomorrow
Yeah.
is I've seen some press ratings for it, and apparently it's not looking great. I think
Really?
one headline was like, "It's a poor man's The Crown."
Oh, that's bad.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, we won't judge it yet. Let us watch it, and then maybe on our next live, we'll well, I'll give you a little review on it. I think.
Yeah.
Also, the Duchess of Edinburgh is in Tanzania. Rach, Tanzania, how
Yes.
amazing! So, what we'll probably do is collect a few bits of information, and yeah, probably cover a little bit of that next week if you want to hear about that. And also I saw that Prince Ed. I've got it all on my phone. Royal Community. I'm reading out to you now. Prince Edward was as chairman of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Foundation, received a Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Buganda at Bagshot Park. Now, if you have a look at this, the picture was in Bagshot Park. We actually got to see inside. I loved it.
I zoomed in.
Did you?
I was like, trying to see. They had this like I can't amor. I can't pronounce the word.
Amour.
You know, it's kind of like
an amour.
Amour, that's
it. Get my French out.
Amour in the background, and I thought that's got to be at least like £30,000 just
easily. Probably priceless. Probably priceless.
Yeah, probably.
I've just seen now. Also, I took a few snapshots of this because I absolutely love facts. You know where I'm like, Rach. And it says, there was a story on the royal family socials today saying over the past year, Buckingham Palace has received more than 100,000 letters addressed to the royal family. Now, royal community, if you send any letters to the royal family, especially to Buckingham Palace, this is where it goes. And it says, they also said about 115,000 post boxes are around with the cipher of the monarch. And I'm like, I love that. I think that's British monarchs, not just King Charles. But Rich, have you seen different types of ciphers walking around Britain?
No, I've only ever seen the Queen Elizabeth II cipher. It's quite rare to see like Queen Victoria. I bet if we went to Windsor, actually, I bet there's probably like Queen Victoria. Yeah, but I've only ever seen myself Queen Elizabeth II.
I've seen quite a few, and I had like a little photo gallery on my phone. So when I find them, I'll start posting them. I'll post them on the community posts. So yeah, you get to see them, but they're so cool. You go, oh, that looks unfamiliar, because you know what's familiar. ER2 looks very familiar. That's Queen Elizabeth II. You know now that Charles R. 3. I'm trying to think now how many Charles was there. 3. That is familiar. But then when you see a G and you're like, oh, hang on a minute. Which one is that? George the what? A V? Hang on a minute. It's so exciting, actually. Now I know how train spotters feel. I'm joking. But if anyone out there is sending a letter to Buckingham Palace, that's where it goes. And Rach, I will say this. This is me. This is a British person moaning right now, which isn't, this is just the way it is. A stamp these days is really expensive. That's 100,000 letters that they are sending back to people. I'm like, whoa, that's really expensive.
Yeah, but so I've received a letter I've received a letter from, it wasn't from the Queen herself, obviously, it was from one of her ladies in waiting. I wrote to the Queen once, I think it was on her Platinum Jubilee, and one of her ladies in waiting wrote back to me. And I also sent a Christmas card to Queen Camilla, and I got a card back as well. And the envelope does not have a stamp on it, Shell.
What?
Yes, because Buckingham Palace has its own post room. The more you look into this, I know. Yeah. So I'll have to dig it out, because I'm pretty sure that I've got it all together and I kept the envelope. But I'll show you. It'll be like a show and tell.
Love it. Bring it to the next live. Would love to see
Yeah.
it. Love to see it. And do you know what's funny is my first picture come to mind of, do you know when people are like, oh, I work at Buckingham Palace. What do you do? I'm a postman.
Yeah.
There've got to be quite a few people sorting through those 100,000 letters.
Do you know what I always think as well? Like, I would have loved to have been one of those people back in like the 50s that worked in the phone room, you know, when they were like tapping like all the phone
Put a
calls
line
through.
in, take another one out, put one in. Yeah, definitely. I could totally see you dressed in 1950s wear, loving it, loving it. And there was something else I wanted to say. It's literally fallen out of my head. Royal community, I'll pop it in the comments. Don't you even worry. Don't even worry.
Oh, one thing also I did see that is kind of royal related is, have you noticed that James Middleton, Catherine's brother, has a book coming out, and it's being serialized at the moment through one of the tabloids here in the UK. I can't remember which one exactly, but there is a few snippets where he obviously talks about Catherine. He talks about his sister Pippa as well. He talks about William. And I thought it was quite interesting because, as we know, if you're close to the royals, you don't really speak out about them. So, one, he must have been given the okay to speak out. And two, is it a bit contradictory? Because when other people have spoken out before, it's kind of seen as a big no-no. You can't do that, or you shouldn't do that because their private lives are their private lives. And then I read in one of the articles today, James was talking about when he visited his parents in Bucklebury, and William and Catherine were staying there with George and Charlotte. And George and Charlotte came in and woke him up, and it was the first time that his girlfriend, now wife, Elise, was staying round. And then he's talking about getting up to a sleepy William and Catherine who was having their morning tea in the kitchen. I was like, hang on, this is a bit like personal. Like, we don't hear this side about the royals very often. So I don't know. Like, do you think that's a bit too out there, Shell?
I agree with you. I think everything needs to be vetted. I remember going on a talk where Dickie Arbiter was there, who's a royal correspondent, and he also was the press secretary. Please don't take me verbatim on that, but he worked with Princess Diana at the time, or Diana, Princess of Wales. But yeah, he said when he wrote his book that he had to send it in to the bee, the wasp, and the fly, the people in the know in the royal family, and they had to give it the green light. And I feel like that's what they would have done. And I asked him a question. I said, how did you manage to get your stories through of being with the Queen and Princess Diana? And he said, you're allowed to give your personal account of something as long as it is kind of, they look at it more PR'd. Like, is this going to give too much information? Well, no, he's just commenting on them in the morning. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad reflection on them, I guess. So I think that's probably, even though it is a personal thing, it's his own personal experience of it. And I think it was very carefully vetted. So yeah, I don't think he just put this out there without any permission, for sure, especially because we know how private the Middletons are as a family group anyway. And I think in one of his quotes, he actually said that him, Pippa, and Catherine had like a pact that we'd all stick together regardless of what happened. We'd always look after each other. Again, do not quote me on the exact phrasing of that, but I think that does definitely show it. And what was interesting in another excerpt, again, we'll probably have to talk a little bit more about it and bring some more quotes to it. But he said, I wanted to, paraphrasing, but I wanted to vet William to see if he was good enough for my big sister. Because we always think, oh, well, she's a princess. Well, she will be a princess marrying into the family. Is she, not that I ever think this, but is she good enough? Actually, no, is William good enough? And he also said about how William has brought out this confidence in her. And I think that's really shown, hasn't it? You can see that confidence.
Yeah, definitely. I really think that as well. I think it's just it's just interesting because it's his account of how his dog Ella, which is a spaniel, and Ella's kind of given William and Catherine, like, because William and Catherine had Lupo, didn't they? And then they sadly passed away, and now they've got another dog. I can't remember its name now. It's on the top.
Honestly, for some reason, Raw Community in the comments, what's their dog called?
Yeah.
It literally is out, come out from
Is it something like Cleo or something? I can't think.
Raw Community, that's for you out there. Please help us.
Yeah.
Put in the comments. We've forgotten. We've
we have
forgotten.
spoken about it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not it's about how his dog Ella really saved him because he was going through depression, and he actually was very near to ending his own life. And thankfully he had his saving grace was his dog, and he really talks about that journey through that time. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I'll actually buy it myself, but I think it's been nice to read the excerpts. I think the excerpts are always the juiciest parts, just like when Spare came out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as well, for people who wouldn't read it but want to know what he's going to say, those excerpts, they kind of pick those bits out, don't they? So I also think that his candid and courage in speaking about this is so important. I'm not sat here wearing a shirt with dogs on, so I don't love dogs at all, do I? I love dogs, and they play such a vital role in our not only mental health and getting us out and being active and stuff, but they're just amazing animals. So it's I think it's sprinkled with a bit of royal stuff to bring in the interest possibly and to target them, but actually at the core of it, it's got a really important message. So yeah, let's hope his book does well. And I'm not sure, I think this is coming out this week, right, or next week? It's coming out
I
very
presume
soon.
so because it's been excerpted. I presume it's coming out this week.
Yeah,
or Raw next week probably.
Yeah, I'll pop the link and stuff in the show notes, and any charities we speak about, sorry Rach, they'll be in the comments. So if you want to donate, if you want to learn more about them, I'll pop in the links in the description for you of the video. So just a little quick plug on our end. We've got a VIP Zoom call tomorrow. Sorry, Friday the 20th of September. My brain, I don't know where my brain is. September the 20th. So if you want to be involved in that, we're going to be chatting all things royal, and you can talk to us, ask us questions. That'll be over on Zoom, but you've got to be part of the VIP Royal community. So head on over to Ko-fi, Kofi, and join us. And the money that you pay each month to be part of the VIP Royal community goes back into all of our channel to keep us on the air and to keep all the software and stuff going that gets us on here chatting. So thank you so much in advance if you want to join. Yeah, and I don't know whether you want to, Rach. So Royal community, I just want to bring up something that's not royal related, but something that Rachel did on the weekend. You went for afternoon tea.
Yay. I haven't had like a proper, like a London afternoon tea for years. And if you've listened to our podcast before, we've spoken so much about afternoon tea, how much we love it, what our favourite afternoon teas have been, because between us, we've been to quite a few. And this time I went to the Lanesborough, which I'd never been to before, but it's such a beautiful hotel. And we actually visited the Lanesborough, didn't we, Shell, during the Platinum Jubilee, because there was a portrait, one of the last portraits that the Queen actually sat for. And that was on display at the Lanesborough, and it's still there. It's just moved its position, so it's in a new position now, but it's still there. I saw that at the weekend. And we also went to the Chris Jackson exhibition, didn't we, at the coronation, of the lovely photos that he's taken of the royals over the years. So I'd actually been inside the hotel, but if you actually go and follow them on their Instagram, you'll know that their dining room is such a centerpiece. It's such a beautiful space. Big, gorgeous chandeliers. It's really Georgian in its appearance. It looks very Bridgerton, like the blue Wedgwood colour is dotted all around. It's just such a stunning space. And the afternoon tea was Bridgerton themed. So there was, the cupcakes were named after certain characters, and that was really cool. It had like the Eloise, and it was like in the shape of a little book. It had the Penelope, which was a rose, because she's bloomed like a rose throughout throughout her journey in Bridgerton so far. Yeah, I mean, my favourite is always the sandwiches. I've got to admit that, and you can't go wrong with a salmon sandwich. You just can't.
I love it. Love
Can't
it.
go wrong with a salmon sandwich. It's pricey. It's so expensive, but you're when you think of it, you're going for the actual experience. It's not just for the tea itself. Because so many people are like, "How much did you pay?" When I tell them how much it was, I'm like, "Yeah, but you got to think of the, where it is, and obviously you're getting the best service you'll get anywhere." And yeah, just a lovely experience. So if you're ever in London, I would thoroughly recommend an afternoon tea, but especially if you're a Bridgerton fan,
Yeah, are they
get
doing that
going.
for a long time, or is it literally just like a period of time?
Yeah, I think it finishes maybe like this year. I think they obviously have like a contract with Netflix and Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was really cool. And at the weekend as well, they have a live piano player, and so they were playing a mixture of classical music and up to date pop music. So it's such a lovely atmosphere.
I think it puts the cherry on the top with a piano player. When you don't
Mm,
have it, it just feels like, oh, I think something's missing. You feel extra classy, don't you, when there's a piano player in the corner? You know?
yeah.
Love it. Love it. I'm glad you had a lovely time. Like, again, we're not affiliated with the Lanesborough. We're just literally just we're talking about it. But I don't watch Bridgerton. I'm not a fan. I've only watched a couple of episodes. But right, you're a massive Bridgerton fan. So would you say the overlay of the Bridgerton kind of theme was worth it?
No, I think they could have done more with it, to be totally honest with you, because it was literally a few desserts that were named after characters, and there was a cocktail that you could get that was named after. I've actually got the menu, so I've not got it to hand. I took the menu. We was allowed to take the menu. I didn't just see
I
it.
was going to say, were you allowed to?
Yeah, I was allowed to. So I took that as a little keepsake. But no, I think they could have like done it a bit more Bridgerton themed. But yeah, it's just such an amazing experience afternoon tea. But it's not something I think people think because we're British that we have afternoon tea all the time, and
We're
it's
lucky
not the
to have a cup of
case.
tea and and a biscuit. You
Yeah.
know, that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, for the experience, the whole it was such a lovely um few hours, and I didn't feel rushed. We didn't feel rushed at all, so that was really nice. And it was my one of my friend's birthday a few days before, and they gave her a little card, and they brought out a little cake that had a happy birthday with a little candle. So that was a really nice touch as well.
That is so lovely. And one of the pictures that you'd sent, you popped up on Instagram. You could see that portrait of Queen Elizabeth in the background.
Mm,
That's probably one of my favorites.
I
It's the
love
one with
it.
the like pale pink, isn't it? It's just so
Yeah.
lovely.
It's
So
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 lovely.
lovely.
And also, we didn't see her, but the Lanesborough actually has a resident cat, and her name is Lilybet.
Oh, you cannot make
Yeah.
this up. I love it.
So
Love it, love
we
it.
didn't see Lilybet, but I've seen her again. If you follow their Instagram, again, not a plug, but you'll see they post her quite a lot. So yeah, so
I
cute.
like that. I love it when an establishment has a pet. Just love it. It
Yeah,
just feels more homely, doesn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's head to some of the comments from you Royal community who've been watching live. Let's head to the start. So Petra, we obviously were talking about oh, I do not want to show you that one. I want to show you this one. Petra said, it's still family, but I think more obligation because it was a significant birthday. And obviously, we're talking about Prince Harry's 40th birthday wishes from the royal family there. And Carrie said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It was simple, but yet, but kind of formal. Excuse me. The Kensington Palace post wasn't signed by William or Catherine, so not a personal message from them. Yeah, especially we could tell it was more of a social media, like I say, in my personal opinion, obligation.
Hmm.
Oh, and then Petra's talking about when you send letters to the Buckingham Palace, it makes my heart so happy when I get a response.
It's so exciting, isn't it, Petra? You just, especially, I know it sounds really bizarre, but if you've ever received anything, a card or a letter back from the palace, like you can just tell it's quality. I know that sounds really bizarre, but the paper's really thick and the envelope's really thick. The envelope doesn't have a stamp. It might in the UK anyway. Obviously, if you live abroad, it probably will have a stamp. But it's just so special when you see that Buckingham Palace and you're like, oh my gosh, Buckingham Palace have sent me something.
Does it come like what is the envelope like? Is it proper fancy or is it just
It's
like
just
a
it's just
normal
like a
envelope?
plain. It's just like it's just plain.
What's the weight of the paper? Does it feel luxurious?
I don't know. I haven't done it in a while.
I think I need to send one myself, Royal Community.
I don't carry it around with me.
Well, why not? April said, "I love that there is not a stamp." Wow, yeah, it's blown my mind. I used to work for a company who used to have to frank mail, and I was just assuming that they just used to frank it, you know. But anyway, April also said the dog is named Orla.
Orla, yes.
Orla.
I knew it began with an O.
What was their first dog called, Rach?
Lupo,
and then Orla. Gotcha.
Orla.
Thank you. And I also want to say that Jennifer said Orla, and 2 from Jennifer. Petra also said, I was trying to show a picture, but the stamp says Royal Mail. Okay, so there you go. The stamp says Royal Mail on it, Buckingham Palace. Yeah. I really need to get into this. Also, you can send it to the other royal houses, right, Rach?
Yeah, you can, but I think what happens is it probably gets redirected to Buckingham Palace anyway. Yeah. So there is like an address for, say, for instance, Clarence House, but that's literally down the road anyway, isn't it? Yeah. So
I guess in a way, like you were saying, Buckingham Palace is more of the main sorting office. And then they sort through maybe mail from the Commonwealth citizens, anyone who wants to send them a picture, and then obviously the gas bill. You know what I mean? You got to sort it all out separately. So I mean, could you imagine some of the things they might sort through?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
probably have to sign an NDA working there.
I know. Could you imagine? I know. Wow. Thank you so much for being here, Royal Community. We're going to leave it there for this week. If you have any opinions about the social media post for Prince Harry's birthday, then let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, as Shell said, we have our VIP Royal Community Zoom call on Friday. So if you'd like to join that, we'll leave the link in the description. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And where else have we? I'm trying to think where else we are.
I was going to say, if you want to hear more about me and Rach talking about the Royals, you can head on over to any of the podcasting streams and search for Keeping Up the Windsors, because we've got loads and loads of episodes up on for our podcast. So feel free to listen and make sure you're subscribed and like this video, because it just allows YouTube to share our video with more people who love the Royals just as much as we do. So thank you so much. We will see you next week on Keeping Up with the Windsors.
Bye everyone.
Bye.